Beginning of the first debate between the president and former Vice President Joe Biden, and Congressman Brian Babin knows this moment, this kind of place right here, this tension, as well as anybody. Is this going to be a big night? And will this give the president finally a chance to do what some of the national mainstream media has not done, which is ask Joe Biden some pointed questions about issues that so far he really has not discussed?
I think it absolutely is a great opportunity for President Trump. And I think one of the first questions that should be asked, if I were the president and I was debating, I'd say, okay, in 45 months, President Trump has accomplished page after page of great things. So, the best economy we've seen in 60 years. He responded to the COVID pandemic, I think, in a very, very good way. We've got a vaccine just around the corner, probably several vaccines. He has slowed down the porous border without any help from Congress. In fact, nothing but obstruction from the Democrat side, and they're the majority. He has done so much. He's been put up for the Nobel Peace Prize for his
3 times.
his Mid-East agreements that he has signed. And quite frankly, in 45 years, I would say, Mr. Biden, Vice President Biden, what have you accomplished? List off some of the things that you think were your greatest accomplishments. And if you will look, I've read about Vice President Biden. And I don't think the man has really done a whole lot. And he's been on the wrong side of issues. Read Charles Krauthammer's book. He said he's probably, Mr. Biden's been wrong more than any other, person in politics that he's ever seen. And he didn't even want to go after Osama bin Laden. He was one of the naysayers when President Obama wanted to go after Osama bin Laden. It was incredible. He's been on the wrong side time and time again.
Congressman,
think that's a question that should be asked.
do you think that a Biden administration would crush this economy, this tax plan alone that has been proposed by former Vice President Joe Biden? The tax plan alone looks alarming.
There's no question about it that what these Democrats are trying to do, that's just one issue, is rolling back our Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. He's already said he would roll back all of that because it was nothing but, he claimed that the Republican Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was nothing but tax cuts for the wealthy. In fact, on the contrary, it gave us the lowest unemployment rate in over 60 years. Some of the lower income levels were the ones that had the most to gain from it, and were gaining. We had the lowest unemployment rate and the highest employment rate for Hispanics, for blacks, for women, for the minorities. It was an incredible amount of improvement out of our economy that we've seen. And if he rolls back those tax cuts and starts bringing back all that regulation, it was historic regulatory cuts that President Trump made, and I was part of that.
Yeah.
If we roll all that back, you're going to see a demise of our economy like we haven't seen in a long time.
Well,
on top of that,
yeah,
Kevin, trying to bring in this Green New Deal to get rid of fossil fuels. Get rid of fracking. And I've heard Mr. Biden say, well, I'm not going to do that. Well, then what did he mean by retraining all of the oil and gas workers in this country into other fields? Because he's either going to ban fracking or he's going to make permitting so difficult that our oil and gas industry, which we are all dependent upon, will go the way of the dodo bird.
That's a great point. Great point. Is the former vice president's cognitive decline a matter that should be discussed tonight?
I think somebody should. It's a very touchy subject because I think the president doesn't want to come off looking mean-spirited.
Right.
But there's no question. I mean, for the last several years, and especially the last several months, Mr. Biden has not shown any cognitive abilities that I would say would be fitting for a president of the United States to have. Let me just a couple of quotes. When asked about, and this was actually last February in the debate for the Democratic primary when he was up against his Democratic opponents, he said 150 million people have been killed by guns since 2007. There are 320 million Americans.
Yeah.
So nearly half of Americans are walking around shot and don't realize it. And then on top of that, Kevin, he says during a campaign speech in Philadelphia, if Donald Trump has his way, the complications from COVID-19, which are well beyond what they should be, it's estimated that 200 million people have died. Probably by the time I finish this talk, well, 204,328 U.S. deaths are on record, and I don't downplay that at all. That's a lot of Americans in a very serious pandemic. But to magnify that to 200 million shows that somebody is out to lunch.
Well, you really don't want somebody at a diplomatic table talking with another world leader and making comments that are between the thousands and millions, do you?
No, that would be a disaster for friend and enemy alike.
Yeah.
To be sitting there trying to negotiate. You couldn't negotiate anything. In fact,
Yeah.
quite frankly, the man has never been a very good negotiator. The only time I saw where he was effective was when he persuaded, using a $1 billion grant from the United States to the Ukraine, he persuaded them with the strong arm tactics that they want their money from America. They had to fire the prosecutor that was investigating his own son, Hunter Biden.
That one. All right, finally, quick words on what you anticipate will happen tonight in this debate. We'll let you be the predictor tonight. What will we know about each of these men after this 90 minutes has passed?
You know what? It's hard to know exactly what's going to happen, because I know that I didn't think that Mr. Biden would even show up for this. I really didn't. I'm very surprised. The Democrats are not stupid. They're going to have some tricks up their sleeve, and I think President Trump is no dummy himself. This could turn out to be a very interesting night. But if it shows that Mr. Biden is incapable of putting two sentences together, or he has problems articulating what he means and what he wants to do, then I think we're going to see a real problem and a slowdown in his campaign. But I know that President Trump, he was warned when he was running against all the 17 folks that were running against him in 2016. There were some really top-notch debaters in there, like Ted Cruz and others, very capable. And, President Trump, he was able to take them apart.
He always surprises you.
That's right. I think he's going to do well. I think America deserves to have a president that loves America, not someone who's going to create havoc in our economy, abolish police departments, prisons, and our military, open our borders up, and all the things that the Democrats have been promising to do. It would be an abject disaster. Never have I seen, Kevin, a greater contrast in the two parties of what they're offering. We've got a Democratic ticket that is so radical. They're around the world to the left.
This is a terribly important time, isn't it?
What we're trying to do in the Republican side.
It is a big time. Congressman Brian Babin, always so wonderful to talk to you. And, sir, we can't wait to talk to you next. We'll see you then.
Absolutely, Kevin. God bless. Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too.